We are in the middle of winter workshop, and winter workshop started on December 1st and it ends on December 12th. So there are still lots of days for merry making to make all sorts of things. So make sure that you come back tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to be making a paper quilled mitten in a little frame. We also have next week some foam stamp gift tags. So we're going to teach you how to use some foam and make your own stamps so that you can make some gift tags. We also have a pop-up card coming up where you can learn how to make like an accordion folded pop-up card to have some scene pop out at people when they open up your card. So we have lots of winter crafts still coming your way. And we had a couple of winter crafts already last week. So maybe you missed the paper tube snowman on day one. So go back to our winter workshop page and you can check out the video and watch this. There's always 3 ways to play with your winter workshop. So you can always go to the pre-recorded videos and watch any of the 12 days. You can join live like you are today with me right now. You can join live any of the other 12 days or the rest of the days coming up at 2 p.m. Central. So you can come online and sign up for those. And you can always go and print out some paper instructions and do the projects on your own using your paper instructions. So let's switch over to my other camera and let's talk about today's gingerbread puzzle. And with the gingerbread puzzle, we are going to be drawing a scene together. And maybe you've never drawn anything quite like this before, but don't worry because we have a guide that's going to teach you kind of step by step how to make all the different shapes in order to draw your own gingerbread house onto the puzzle. We're going to be using markers. I'm going to be using some Creatology broad tip markers. There's a bigger pack or a smaller pack, whichever one you have is just fine. And I'm also going to be using a white paint pen. And this white paint pen is going to help me draw in some extra snow and some of those white features that are going to go on top of my gingerbread house to make it look extra fabulous. So if you have things that you want to let me know about, you can tell me in the Q&A. And we are going to get started with our Creatology puzzle. So when you're opening up your puzzle, be careful because you don't want all your pieces to fall out yet. You're not going to be creating the puzzle quite yet. You're going to be drawing the puzzle, and then you can take it all apart and put it all back together once you have your scene done. It's going to be so much easier to put together your puzzle when you have pictures on it, because right now, if you take this apart and put it back down, it might be really hard to kind of put it back together because there's no picture. But when you have your picture, it's going to be so much easier to put this puzzle back together. So I hope that everybody has a chance to have this drawing guide. And if not, you can always watch mine and you can kind of see what I'm doing and try and follow along as best you can. We're going to be drawing this gingerbread house onto our puzzle, and I'll kind of keep my other gingerbread house off to the side so that you can still kind of see what we're trying to draw. So we are going to start by making a square. So on the guide, it says to make a square. And here's the center of my puzzle. I'm going to put the square just a little bit to the left of the center of my puzzle. So I'm going to open up my markers. And I think for my gingerbread house, I'm going to use brown. And I'm going to go ahead and make a square like it says on the guide. So I'm going to draw my square about right here. And notice how I'm kind of in the center. And I'm drawing those 4 lines together to make a square. The next step on my guide says to draw a triangle on top of my square to give it a roof. So I'm going to draw a triangle on top of my square. And I bet you've never drawn on top of a puzzle before. It's a little bumpy, so be careful. Then you're going to add some lines for the roof. So you're going to add 2 lines for the roof, and you're going to add 1 line that goes towards the back of the house. So then I'm going to take this line right here, and I'm going to draw a line. When I draw this line, I want it to be kind of the same. So if you know what the word parallel means, it means they're going in the same direction. So they look like they're not ever going to cross each other. And then I'm going to draw another line that's going at the same exact slant as these ones. back here to make the back of my gingerbread house. Now we're going to close off all of those lines. So I'm going to draw a line to finish the rest of the roof. And I'm going to draw a line to finish the rest of the house. And we have a really cool 3D gingerbread house so far. We can also add a little chimney. So on the guide, you'll see that we add just one little line here and one little line here, and we can make a chimney on the back of it. So here's my line going across, and here's my line going down, and now I have a cute chimney on my house. So I hope you were able to follow along, but you can always come back and watch the pre-recorded video, or you can use this guide and you can go step by step and draw your own gingerbread house. So now that I have a gingerbread house, I think I need to have a gingerbread door. So I'm going to draw a door on my house, and I think my door is going to be bright and yellow. And to draw a door, I'm going to draw like an upside down capital letter U. And this is going to be my door, and I'm going to go ahead and color it all the way in. And I'm going over all the bumps of the puzzle. And I hope you're doing okay with your puzzle so far too. So I have a door, and maybe I want a couple of windows. So maybe a square window and a square window. And I'm going to make those yellow too, so it kind of looks like it's glowing inside of my gingerbread house. And I'm going to make a square over here. And then you can make a couple windows. You can make one window. I'm going to make one window that kind of goes in the center of this side of the house so that you can kind of peek into the side of the house. And then I'm going to go back with my brown marker, and I'm going to outline the door. I'm going to outline the square that makes up the window. I'm going to outline the other square. And I'm going to outline this last kind of shape that looks like a window too. And then I'm going to put a little cross in each one of those windows to kind of make it look like a window pane. So I just make one line going down and one line going across, and one line going down and one line going across to make all of those windows. And then maybe on my door, I want to have like a little circle so somebody could peek out and look to see who's coming to your door, your gingerbread door. I'm going to make a cross on that one like it's a little window too. And don't forget your doorknob so that someone can actually come in and out of your gingerbread house. And then I'm going to go through and just kind of add some different decorations. So maybe on the top of my gingerbread house, I have a big Christmas wreath or a green holiday wreath. So I'm going to draw a circle with my green marker. This is going to be like a great big wreath decoration on the top of my house. So I just drew a circle. And then maybe I make it a little spiky because it's kind of like leaves or like poinsettias or some green ivy, some pine. Looks like a cool Christmas wreath up there. And maybe it needs a little Christmas bow. So I'm going to draw a triangle and a dot and another triangle to make kind of like a little bow or a little bow tie on my wreath. You see that? You can add some other things too if you want to, some berries or just some different decorations. And then I'm going to start coloring in most of my gingerbread house brown. So I'm going to color in the front of my gingerbread house, and we can always go back with our white paint pen and go over top of this and use some extra decoration. I think the most fun part of any gingerbread house is the decorating. So if you're making a real gingerbread house out of gingerbread and it's like food, then you can add some icing in order to make some decoration. But since our gingerbread today is a puzzle, we're going to add some extra decorations using a paint pen as soon as we're done with all of our markers. So I'm going to color in the whole front of the gingerbread house brown to make it look like gingerbread. I wonder if any of you have you ever made a gingerbread house before? Those are really fun. And you put little candy gumdrops and things. Put some sprinkles all over the roof to decorate it. That sounds really fun. That's the front of my gingerbread house. Looking good so far. Now on my other picture, see how I made a couple of big gumdrops? So before I color this side brown, I'm going to add in some different designs. So I'm going to make some gumdrops again, and I'm going to make mine green, pink, and orange. So I'm going to take my green marker and I'm going to make the curve. And there's one big old gumdrop right there. And then I'm going to make a pink gumdrop. And so I'm going to take the curve and I'm going to go so it looks like some of the gumdrop is hiding behind the green gumdrop. So I'm not doing the whole entire curve because it looks like part of it is hiding back there behind it. And then I'm going to make my orange gumdrop, my last gumdrop, a little bit smaller and a little bit shorter and put that one in there. And that looks fun. So then I can color in the rest of the gingerbread house around my gumdrops. So I like to outline my gumdrops first, get all those curves, and then I'm going to use my marker and kind of go up and down like I'm painting, but with a marker, which is pretty fun. So you could paint on these gingerbread puzzles if you wanted to, but it would take a little bit more time to dry before you can take it apart and actually do the puzzle. So that kind of is up to you if you want to do that or not. And also with paint, sometimes you might have to kind of break the pieces back apart because sometimes the paint kind of almost like glues them together. So I like using markers on my gingerbread puzzle because then you don't have to wait. You can do your puzzle right away. And also because it's going to keep all the pieces nice and sharp so that they can fit back together pretty easily. Now up on this roof, I'm probably going to be decorating most of the roof with my white paint pen. So I can go ahead and color this in as well. And so notice I'm using really long, broad strokes with my marker. It's kind of like I'm painting with a marker and just making these lines so that it looks almost like wood, even though it's gingerbread. Or in our case, it's a puzzle. That looks good, but don't forget about your chimney. Put my chimney over here. And now that I have my wreath drawn in, I'm going to go in the middle and put in some more gingerbread so that you can see my little bow. And I'm going to go around the tree, do some zigzaggies around that green Christmas pine, holiday pine. There we go. And fill in the rest of the roof. This is looking really good so far. So we can't just have a gingerbread in the middle of nowhere on our puzzle. We want to put it into kind of like a little scene. So we're going to draw a couple of Christmas trees in the background, and we're going to make the part down here at the bottom of the gingerbread house a lot of snow. So it snowed in our little gingerbread village, and maybe you want to make a little path. So I do have a little gray marker, and you can make your path go in whichever direction you want. I'm going to squiggle it this way today. And I'm going to make that path. So see what I just drew over there? And I'm making it gray because maybe it's like some rocks, or maybe it's like some cement, or like a sidewalk to walk up to your gingerbread place. And you can color that in. I'm going to color mine in gray. And I could make it like rocks by drawing some circles if I want to. Make it look kind of like stones, but maybe they got covered up by some snow too, so you just never know. So I'm just making some little circles and making that little path. And you can color it in solid or you can leave it like that. It's up to you. I think I'm going to keep going and color mine in all the way. I'm going to fill it all in. And if you need some help or if you have any questions, let us know in the Q&A and we'll make sure that we answer anything that we can. Or if you get stuck or if you need to stop, you can always come back and watch the pre-recorded videos. You can use the guide. We also have those printout directions that'll show you step by step how to do this same thing that we're doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a little scene in the background with some trees. So a Christmas tree or a big pine tree could be a big triangle. So a big tall triangle is going to go right here. And you can make your triangle as tall as you want to. It can be taller than the house, or it can be shorter than the house. Either way. And I'm going to fill that in. And I definitely want this gingerbread to be living in this beautiful forest. So I'm going to have another tree, and I'm going to make this tree a little bit of a different size triangle, but I'm going to put it right next to it, and I'm going to have a line going across where all the trees kind of come together. That looks cool. Filling that all in with my green marker. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add another big Christmas tree over here. Beautiful. And I'm going to color that one in too. Now, if you want to, you can decorate these trees. You can add some different colors. You can make it have ornaments on it. You could even kind of get out some glitter if you have glitter glue or anything like that and make it really sparkle. All that part's kind of up to you, but I like having a couple of trees over here. And I'm going to have half of a tree. So I'm just going to do half of a tree right here, and it's going to go off the edge of the puzzle. But I'm going to stick that little half of a tree over there. Ooh, goodness. My tree came down. Let myself back in. Hold on just a moment. I'm sorry about that. Ina, do you have the meeting ID that you can help me with? Sorry, everyone. I'll get right back with you, I promise. I'm just joining on my phone again because that one got disconnected.
Recording in progress.
There we go. Ina, are you there?
I'm looking for you to put you on co-host, but can't really find you.
Okay. I just joined on my phone again. So we can always make this. Oh, there we go. I see it now. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. Sorry about that. Here we go. Now you can see it. All right, we're back in business. Sorry about that, everyone. So we were just making the path for our gingerbread house. And it looks like we have some beautiful trees. We have a nice path. We have a really cute gingerbread going on. So now we can go back and we can start to do maybe some blue sky in the background. So you can use whatever blue you want to. If you have one of the bigger packs, you can have a light blue, but I'm going to use kind of like a dark blue. And I'm going to go and trace around my trees. There we go. And I'm going to start making all of this background kind of like this really pretty blue color, like it's a nighttime scene with a gingerbread house that's glowing out here in this forest. I'm really curious to see how some of you are doing. I hope that your gingerbreads are looking delicious and like a really fun puzzle for you to put together in just a little bit. Will be done and you'll be able to take all the pieces out of this little wooden puzzle and put them all back in. And then maybe give it to a friend or something and let them kind of try it. You can also have puzzle races. I loved having puzzle races when I was younger and try and see how fast I can put it together and try and get faster and faster each time. I'm going to draw this line with my blue marker and then I'm going to color in the top. And I'm going to follow the line on the side of the house and the chimney and the back of the house with my blue marker, up and down the triangles of the tree. And I'm just going to fill that whole thing in with this really pretty blue. But if you want your sky to be purple, you can make your sky purple. You can make your design however you want it to be. Awesome. Okay. And now I'm ready to go back with my paint pen and add all kinds of decorations and designs. So I'm going to shake up my paint pen. And sometimes when you use a paint pen, I don't know if you've ever used one before, when you open it up, it has a little tip and that's where all the paint comes out. So sometimes on a different piece of paper, you have to press the tip down a couple times until the paint starts coming out. Especially if you haven't ever used this paint pen, you might need to push it down a couple times. So I'm going to go back through and I'm going to follow inside of the line of the gingerbread house. So here's the outside line. I'm going to make my line a little bit further in because it's going to be kind of like a decoration line. And then I'm going to go back to the door and I'm going to make little marks around the round part of the door to add some fun, kind of like adding icing at the end of your gingerbread house. I'm going to make some little snowdrops so I can make a line following the roof. And here's a line following the other side of the roof. And then I can make some little icicles dangling down. And I'll put in a little bit of a wavy line to make it look like some snow and ice is kind of just hanging on the edge of my roof. And then I'm going to draw a line on the back part of the roof. And maybe I make some waves. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And I can color those in. Now you might notice that my white paint is kind of getting soaked up into the wood, and that's totally normal. That happens. I can always let this dry and go back and do another layer or two to make it even brighter white. And maybe I'm going to draw a line here where the roof meets the top of the gingerbread house. I'm going to do some more little waves. Oop. And color those in with my white paint pen. Awesome. And here are my gumdrops. I'm going to outline my gumdrops in white. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put some sprinkles on my gumdrops, like a little sugar on top of it by just doing dots. That's looking cool. I'm gonna put this a little closer so you can see all the dots that I just made on my little sugary gumdrops. And maybe I want to do a couple of lines. You can make them wavy or you can make them straight. Just some more decoration on the side. And I do like making these wavy lines on my gingerbread house up here. So I'm going to go over these, make these wavy lines. So it kind of looks like shingles. Did you see me draw this line to make the rest of the back of my gingerbread house? And then this is my chimney. And so you know there might be some white smoke coming out of my chimney if I have my fireplace going in this gingerbread house. So you might have a little bit of smoke coming out of the back of that chimney. And now we have a bunch of scene down here that we can paint with our white paint marker too. So I'm going to do a lot of painting down here with my white. And if you have white colored pencils or white crayons, you could use those also instead of a paint marker. And I'm just going to lay some snow down all over the place down here. Starting to build up, just like in real life when you get a little bit of snow and then you get some snow on top of that. And then soon enough, you're going to have a lot of snow when it all just starts building up. So I'm doing my first little layer of snow right now. And it's not super dark, but I'm just getting the light dusting on the ground. And then I'm going to go back and make it snow some more. And it's going to get darker. So far, this is what it looks like with some snow on the ground. I'm going to put the lid on my paint pen and I'm going to shake it up a little bit more. Do you hear that little sound? And I'm going to push it down on my paper to get some more paint coming out. And I'm going to go back and do some of these lines again. So they're going to get brighter each time I do them. And I bet you can start to see the difference between the first layer I did and the second layer I did is much brighter. Add some of those icicles again. And whoop, 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 whoop. Making those waves on the side of the roof. Making these waves on the top of the building. Making these waves on the middle where the roof touches the middle. Looking good. Don't forget about your chimney in the back of your house. I don't think I drew any lines on the bottom of my house, so maybe I want to go back and draw a line or two on the bottom of my house. And then I'm going to do some more snow. So after a second night of it snowing at my gingerbread house, I bet you're going to start seeing a lot more of my snow building up and building up. Looking darker to me. It's snowing all over the place in this gingerbread forest. This looks good. So if you think that there's anything else you want to add to yours, if you want to do any more finishing touches, if you want to go over it and make a third night of snowstorm, you're going to get an even brighter white. If you want to do another layer, you can. Maybe you want to put some dots in the Christmas tree of a couple of snowflakes that fell onto the tree. Or maybe you even want to put a couple dots in the blue sky like it's snowing right now. That's kind of fun. Or they could kind of look like stars too if you have some stars in the night. But we are just about finished. I'm going to go back and I'm going to take a black marker and I'm going to add a couple more details, but I'm going to trace along the line of the path with my black marker just to kind of make it stand out a little more. And I'm going to trace with my black marker kind of the outline of the house. So notice how the house outline is further away from that white line that we drew because the white line was for decoration. Then we have the outline of the house. Goes all the way up here. And I'm just kind of outlining a little bit of it in black so that it stands out from the white snow and from all the gingerbread. So you can see that house and see all that cool shape that we drew together. That's looking good. And if you want to add some lines around your tree, you can even put one tree in front of another one by drawing a line like this. So now it looks like this tree's in the front and this tree's in the back. Over here, it looks like these trees are just kind of hanging out, standing next to each other. And I think that I am finished. So now the best part of this is what you can do with your puzzle now that you're finished is you can take it out. Whoop, and you can mix it up and then you can have fun trying to put it all back together. And it fits together again in this really nice wooden puzzle holder. And it's a nice wooden frame so that you know exactly where the edge of your lines are going to be and how everything's going to go when you start putting all these pieces back together to make your gingerbread house. So I'm so glad that you joined me this Saturday to make this cute gingerbread house with me, this puzzle. And I hope that you come back tomorrow and learn how to make the quilled mitten. That's a little frame that I have. I'll show you a picture. Here's the quilled mitten that we're making tomorrow. So make sure that you join us for that class. And then later on next week, we have another class where you make some foam gift tags. And we have plenty more classes that you've already had from earlier this week and that are coming up next week. So I hope that you join us again for winter workshop. And until then, enjoy making. Bye, everyone.